Back in Pokemon Sword and Shield, I was once shocked to see Nidoking was all the way up and overused, at one point number 20. Look at its peers, Magearna, Urshifu, 3 spots above Tyranitar. The Nidoran line started as superstars 30 years ago. Nidoking was the choice for Gen 1 speedrunning, and somehow they've been raw dogging power creep this whole time. But how did it do so well in such a recent generation? What kind of buff did this? To my shock, none. They only ever got 2 buffs from Nintendo. The one that matters was given to literally every Pokemon. And it was a slight change that ended up invalidating the second buff. This change was a hidden ability, Sheer Force. It chops the effects off of moves in exchange for 30% more power. For some reason, this removes the recoil damage from the item Life Orb. However, it leaves the damage boost. No, there is no reason why it works as it does, as far as I know. But that's 60% more oomph to your attack. Now, what about that second buff? The one that this invalidates? Well, that buff was 10 more base attack. These were physical attackers before Generation 5, right? Yeah, they were, but not after Sheer Force they ain't. For starters, their strongest attack, Earthquake, has no secondary effect. There is no Sheer Force boost there. But ever since the start of the game, they've had a crazy special attack variety. There are actually quite a few good Earth monsters out there that learn like every single good attack. And all of those are high power moves, with a secondary effect. Are you getting the idea now? Sludge Wave, Earth Power, Fire Blast, Focus Blast, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam. While this did settle down into Yu-Gi-Oh after a solid chunk of a year, what kind of Pokemon is doing this without snorting crack? Basic Zapdos, he's right there. He ain't wavering either. But he is a legendary. Also Moltres, now that we've learned to put boots on a chicken. Slowbro was there too. Took a little bit more of a boost, but it's honestly so cool seeing Slowbro consistently outdo his new form. Dragonite is towards the bottom of this ranking. However, Dragonite was a pseudo-legendary, and was given an ability only shared by Lugia. No, Clefable doesn't count at all. That is a whole new Pokemon at this point. Nidoking and Nidoqueen have never dropped that low. In fact, Nidoqueen had a niche in Gen 4 OU over Nidoking, thanks to her bulk and access to both Stealth Rocks and Toxic Spikes. In a way, they've had a lot of moveset buffs like those 2 attacks, but getting new appropriate attacks when they release doesn't feel the same. And in the case of Stealth Rocks, given to so much, like Clefable, someone in Game Freak is really dedicated to this thing. Also, while I've got your attention, I'd like to point out how much I love the first stage Nidoran. Wonderful little bunnies. And yes, they are bunnies. My proof? Not only do they evolve using a moonstone, but also, look, they're rabbits. They're so adorable. And not only are they one of the best forms of sex difference in the game, but I really like how they don't alienate either gender of trainer. They're both cute and cool. Plus, a girl might want the purple one because it's purple. The female Nidoran is even powder blue, the boy color. And as a final stage, she gets superpower, which is neat. Also, who the hell at Game Freak thought it was okay to give you these by level 16? Oh, but they don't learn new moves! These are the TM vacuums. Teach them literally any move you want. Oh no, how will I ever live without Horn Attack and Bite? Let me just cry into my Water Pulse, Return, Brick Break, Earthquake. I'm honestly not too surprised they never got a Mega Evolution in new form. They can already feel redundant being 2 different lines. Giving both a new form would be 2 new lines that would feel even more redundant to some people. I guess unless you add a non-binary Nidoran into the mix. And the same goes for Mega Evolution. Mega Latios and Latios they made visually identical, and honestly kind of lame. And they're both great Pokemon already. You can't help but look at them and wonder if this took away a Mega Evolution from something more in need. So I won't ask how you'd buff them. Instead, what would you do to make them more unique from one another? Maybe a more varied stat spread, or a change to one's typing. I could have seen Nidoking ending up a rock poison. I've been Chelsea. Hope you enjoyed my little ramble.